This podcast is an invitation to feel and experience the souls of famous old Hollywood homes and to have an in-depth journey to the areas where they're located through interviews with longtime residents. Either you're a fan of old Hollywood in Los Angeles, planning to have a vacation, or, an even bigger step, considering a certain area for your future home. This is your opportunity to receive valuable information and insightful advice you won't find anywhere else.
Hello, and welcome to my podcast. Are you in the mood for California? Today we'll explore Whitley Heights, featuring an interview with amazing Gaby Santinelli.
Well, it's a very friendly neighborhood. It feels secluded, even though you're literally wedged between Franklin Avenue, Cahuenga Boulevard, Highland, and the 101 freeway.
Mhm.
Like we're just kind of in this little box.
Right.
So it's incredibly accessible to Pasadena, to Malibu, to the South Bay, to downtown. And yet you feel like you're in a little village. So it couldn't be more perfect for me.
Masha is a California-based realtor and a member of the National Association of Realtors in Los Angeles. She's an advocate for selling and buying homes with soul and practicing mindfulness in real estate. With master's degrees in spiritual psychology and linguistics, Masha brings all of her skills to work with her clients. An intuit and empath, she has touched many lives with her outstanding ability to see beyond the visible and helping to come to better understanding of issues and their resolutions. An adventurous world traveler, from climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania to exploring the Galapagos Islands, Masha has a particular passion for the City of Angels. Having landed in this paradise and adopted it as her home, she's been sharing old Hollywood stories since 2007. In the mood for California, feel the soul of old Hollywood.
And now, are you ready to experience Whitley Heights? Hobart Johnstone Whitley, a Canadian transplant via Chicago, had a grand vision for development, founding towns anchored by banks and hotels. Following the path of progress laid by the railroad, he set out to shape the burgeoning towns of the West. However, it was his fateful honeymoon in Southern California in 1886 that would ignite the spark of inspiration that would define his legacy. Captivated by picturesque landscapes and boundless potential, Whitley wasted no time in staking his claim in the city of Los Angeles. Establishing a jewelry store on Spring Street, he soon pivoted towards a more ambitious endeavor, acquiring land. And acquire land he did, with an unparalleled fervor that would shape the future of the region. Among his notable acquisitions was the vast expanse known as the Herd Ranch, comprising 480 acres overlooking the Cahuenga Valley. With characteristic flair, Whitley christened this parcel Whitley Heights upon finalizing the purchase with his bride. But Whitley's ambitions extended far beyond mere land ownership. He sought to cultivate a community that would reflect his ambitious vision. He embarked on a grand beautification project, planting an astonishing 10,000 trees and hosting a lavish barbecue that drew 1,000 guests. This spectacle not only garnered attention, but firmly established Whitley as a trailblazer in the wild landscape of Hollywood. The turning point came in December 1902 with the grand opening of the Hollywood Hotel on Highland Avenue, a luxurious establishment that signaled the dawn of a new era. Collaborating with fellow investors, Whitley's vision for Hollywood began to take shape, laying the foundation for a cultural and entertainment hub that would keep the world in awe. Embracing the Mediterranean architectural style, Whitley foresaw a harmonious blend of form and function that would perfectly complement Southern California's climate and topography. To bring his vision to life, he enlisted the expertise of architect Arthur Barnes, dispatching him to Europe to study the intricacies of architecture and landscaping. Concerts became a hallmark of Whitley's promotional efforts, drawing prospective buyers to the idyllic tracts of Whitley Heights. The majority of homes were erected before the tumultuous stock market crash of 1929, each bearing the imprint of Barnes' meticulous craftsmanship. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times, Whitley reflected on his crowning achievement, declaring Whitley Heights as the culmination of a lifetime of development. Yet, even as he basked in the success of his endeavors, Whitley remained committed to the preservation of his legacy, ensuring that Whitley Heights would endure as a testament to his vision for generations to come. Whitley Heights became a haven for silent film stars, boasting residents like Rudolph Valentino, Charlie Chaplin, and Gloria Swanson. As the golden age of Hollywood dawned, a new generation of icons, including Bette Davis, William Faulkner, and Rosalind Russell, would call Whitley Heights home, cementing its status as a cultural epicenter. Despite later architectural shifts and the intrusion of the Hollywood freeway, community efforts preserved its charm, earning it a spot on the National Register of Historic Places. Today, Whitley Heights remains a bastion of Hollywood's storied past, its lush hillsides and historic homes serving as a poignant reminder of a bygone era. As visitors stroll through its picturesque streets, they can't help but feel a sense of reverence for the visionaries who shaped its destiny, chief among them, the incomparable Hobart Johnstone Whitley. And here we are. Welcome to Whitley Heights. I'm so happy to have Gaby Santinelli here with me. Gaby Santinelli, born in Manhattan, trained in acting and singing at Interlochen Arts Academy, Northwestern University, and Mann's School of Music. She also trained at the Atlantic Theatre Company in New York City and in the Meisner Technique in London. Living in England for 15 years, she became a dual US-UK citizen. Notably, she won a Best Supporting Performance Olivier Award for Jerry Springer the Opera and has extensive stage experience, including roles in The Phantom of the Opera and The Black Rider. She has appeared in various operas, including at Covent Garden and Highclere Castle. Her theater roles encompass Lady Chiltern in An Ideal Husband, Masha in Three Sisters, and Janie in Company. Film credits include A Summer in Genoa with Colin Firth and Losing Aizeya with Jessica Lange and Halle Berry. As a studio session singer since 2001, she contributed to Oscar-winning soundtracks such as The Lord of the Rings, Trilogy, and La La Land. Currently, she's a performance faculty member at USC's School of Dramatic Arts, teaching voiceover and on-camera acting. Additionally, she has coached actors on projects including Skin, The Crown, and The Morning Show. Please check out Gaby's website at www.gabysantinelli.com. And today, Gaby will share with us what it feels like to live in Whitley Heights. Hi, Gabby.
Hi, Masha.
Oh, what a joy it is for me to have you here with me today to talk about Whitley Heights.
Oh, yeah. I'm so excited to represent.
It's incredible because it is actually the first of the movie star colonies, and you happen to live there. And I'm so curious. Maybe you can share your experience of living in this area and what drew you to this beautiful, majestic, historical place, and what vibe does it exude for you?
Yeah, well, I can't take much credit because my father moved from New York City to Los Angeles in 1988, and we had family friends who were living here in this particular building at the bottom of Whitley Heights, and he just moved into the same building as his friends. And so I started coming here when I was in high school to visit him, and that was it. Like, this was the first place I ever knew in Los Angeles. And when I later moved back from Britain, I lived in Great Britain for 15 years. I crashed with my dad for a bit. And as we were deciding where I should live, have my own place, we suddenly went, oh, it makes total sense that I would be in the same building that he's in. So we just kind of waited it out until there was an apartment for me. So this is the only place here I had ever lived here in Los
Wow.
Angeles. And he passed away, but this was his only apartment the whole time he was here, like 28 years. So it's such a special spot for a lot of reasons. I love history. I love architecture. I love anything romantic. So this part of Los Angeles, the Hollywood Hills, is the most interesting to me. And, whenever I wander around Whitley Heights, it feels like you're going back in time. It's very well preserved and it is a historic district. So the houses have plaques on them that say how old the house is, like built in 1923, that kind of thing. The area was built to be a Mediterranean fishing village.
Yes.
Like, it's just so Hollywood. Like,
Right.
let's make a Spanish fishing village on the top of this hill. And that's what this guy Whitley did. So you have people like Valentino who lived up there, and there is a rumor, although it's more word of mouth, that Marion Davies, who was the life partner of William Randolph Hearst, that there's a house up there that was hers. And I have never seen any documentation about that, but that's the kind of lore that you hear just when you're chatting with people as you take a walk and you see people. It's a very friendly neighborhood. It feels secluded, even though you're literally wedged between Franklin Avenue, Cahuenga Boulevard, Highland, and the 101 freeway. Like, we're just kind of in this little box.
Right.
So it's incredibly accessible to Pasadena, to Malibu, to the South Bay, to downtown, and yet you feel like you're in a little village. So it couldn't be more perfect for me.
Beautiful. And it must really feel as if you live in old Hollywood.
Yeah, for sure. And what I love about it is that, unlike, say, Laurel Canyon, which I find kind of inaccessible, like the traffic and kind of winding up into the hills, or even in the Dell, Hollywood Dell, or Beechwood, some of those roads are pretty treacherous, a lot of switchbacks. I don't mind that, but you're not getting in and out quickly. Whereas here, you can get in and out pretty darn fast.
Yes.
In a city, you want that. And look, there are sometimes big issues, like we live very near the Hollywood Bowl, which is a blessing and a curse because you can walk there. So you don't have to, you can just wander up and get tickets for the same day. It's pretty magical. But on those days with concerts, you just have to kind of plan ahead and kind of keep an eye on the traffic. The neighborhood also closes down for the Oscars because just in the other direction, we have what is now, I guess, the Dolby they call it the Dolby Theater where they hold the Oscars. So the neighborhood, when we have big events like that, you just have to be aware because it's like the equivalent of Times Square in New York or Piccadilly Circus in London. It's the crossroads of the world at Highland and Hollywood. So it's
Very
crazy
much
that
so.
that's all right there. And yet I feel like, again, like I'm in this little village. It's pretty amazing.
Yes, it's like a little secret place.
It feels quite secret. Yeah, a lot of people don't even know it's here.
Right, exactly. So, are there some favorite places of yours maybe that you could share? Maybe coffee shops or stores or restaurants nearby?
Some things have closed down because of the pandemic, so that was sad. But Cafe Solar, which is at Franklin and Cahuenga, that place I've spent a lot of time there. And then going further east is Franklin Village. So you have, well, on the way to Franklin Village, you have Clark Street Diner, which used to be the 101 Diner. That's just an iconic place. You can see it in movies. And then really my favorite is Beechwood Cafe up Beechwood in Beechwood Canyon. Again, it feels like, I mean, there's a real estate office there from 1923 or something. It's just
Right.
like, I love all that. I just would like to run around 100 years ago. So I'm happy as a little clam, going to places like that. I love anything vintage with like kooky 70s wallpaper and, wooden tables and stuff. I'm a sucker for all that. So I love Beechwood Canyon. And then, Los Feliz. Los Feliz. I don't know how they say it properly. There are some amazing restaurants there. So that's about 4 miles away. It feels closer, but you have Mess Hall, you have Little Dom's, you have an amazing strip there. I think Hollywood Boulevard, there are some places a little further down Cahuenga around Selma, that area, but unfortunately the ArcLight Theater closed, so I'm not going down there as much, which is a real shame because I used to see a lot of films there.
Right. What about the restaurant Michelis on Las Palmas?
That area is very touristy, and it feels, for me, sometimes just almost too close for comfort.
I hear you.
Or you have Hollywood and Highland, the big shopping area, which is very touristy. But if you want to go to California Pizza Kitchen or Dave and Buster's and play some skee ball, I mean, it's right there.
Right.
But I'm a little more like off the beaten track, so I'll go a little further afield. So because this area is so, a crossroads, there aren't as many restaurants, kind of right here. There's Musso and Frank. I mean, if you want the big old steak blowout, that's an amazing, iconic place. I mean, there are those places on Hollywood Boulevard. I just don't tend to go to them very often.
I hear you. You prefer to stay kind of like in your bubble and then you venture out towards Los Feliz. Yeah, that makes total sense because it helps you to continue being in your kind of like old Hollywood bubble.
Totally. And, I have friends in Los Feliz as well. So it moves me in that direction.
Yes. Well, let me ask you, because you sound like you receive a lot of inspiration kind of living old Hollywood. And how has this environment influenced your creative pursuits?
Oh, well, I mean, I think I really thrive. I think I'm an old soul, and I really thrive on artistic and specifically architectural beauty, which a lot of Los Angeles can't really boast, unfortunately. But, someone did say, well, there is the weather, which is so good. And I said, yeah, that's true. But it kind of feeds a part of me that's kind of hard to put my finger on. But also my area is very leafy and green. And I'm from the East Coast, and I love weather, actually. So the fact that I look out my window and I just see this lush green garden, I'm very, very, very lucky to have that in the middle of a city. And it just has a sort of serenity, trees and green. And then we have possums and raccoons and sometimes coyotes, but birds and just all kinds of fun, exciting little creatures out there. And that just really kind of enlivens me. So it feels, when I'm sitting here writing, I can look out this huge kind of picture window my building was built in the early 50s. So it's got that kind of studio windows from that time period where they let in a lot of light. And but my apartment, it feels like a cottage, and our little building has a kind of a real community feeling, which is nice.
That is beautiful. Yes, it feels like very warm and cozy and inspiring to write.
Absolutely.
Well, I know you're not only a writer, but you're also an actor and you're a coach. And so maybe you can share some memorable moments that you have experienced throughout your illustrious career and something that has had a profound impact on you because, wearing so many hats, it's not that easy. Maybe you could share some interesting insights into your career.
Well, I moved around a lot as a kid, and I lived overseas in Europe when I was very small and spoke French and heard a lot of languages and accents and things. And then, when we were back here in the States, moved around as well. And I was the kid on the playground teaching my friends in Ohio how to talk with a New York accent. I was kind of always like, let's all pretend to be something else. So both of my parents were artists, as in actor musicians. They were kind of beatnik hippies themselves, and they were a folk duo and played their own music and toured around and things like that. So to me, I get restless if things get too routine. So I'm actually quite good juggling. This week I'll be singing for the Easter services at a church in Burbank, and I'm producing a film that I've written, and I teach acting at USC. And, these are all kind of the culmination of kind of having these different skills and gifts that I've honed and practiced for my whole life. To me, it keeps things interesting. I would not fare well in a sort of regular day-to-day. Some people think that the freelance life is terrifying, but I would be terrified if I had to do the same thing and knew what I was going to do every day. The fact that at any moment someone's going to call me and say, "Hey, we'd like you to audition for this thing or sing for that thing or coach this person for this project or that audition," like that just keeps me very, very alive.
Yes, I hear that. Maybe you can share some fun story that happened with you like throughout your career.
Oh goodness. A fun story. Goodness, in what way? I'm pretty rebellious. So I was doing a show in the West End and in London, and I auditioned for the leading role and was asked to be in the chorus and understudy. And I thought, well, when you understudy, you often get to go on in the part because it's a long run. And it's a great opportunity. And I think that might have been my first West End show. So I thought, okay, let's do it. And then I found out that the leading role had been double cast. And I was pretty salty because I thought, well, these two women are going to cover each other. And unless both of them are trapped on the tube, like, unable to get to the theater, it's very unlikely I'm ever going on in this part. And so I had an audition in Germany for an opera company, and I foolishly asked the general manager if I could have the night off so I could go and audition. And he said, "Oh, no, I would have to, then let other people out for such things." And I thought, oh no, I never should have asked. So me being me, I just decided to go anyway. And I found a return flight that would take me there and back in the same day. And I did. I flew to Germany from England. I took a cab to a nearby town where the opera house was. I went in, I did my singing. He waited for me in the cab. I got back in the cab, went back to the airport, flew back to London, and went to the theater that night. And nobody knew I left the country. So I'm a little crazy like that. And I just think in this business, you sometimes just have to do what you have to do. As it turns out, the opera company was interested in me, but they added a role. There had been like 4 roles for the contract, and then they added a role that I think in hindsight, I probably should have said, sure, why not? I'll do it. But I think at the time I felt like, not really ready for that part. It was a very, very big, demanding role. And I thought, I'm not sure. And as it turned out, I ended up doing a lot more things in England. So it was probably the right decision to stay in England. But yeah, I think that sometimes you just got to make things happen, and what they don't know, they don't know.
Yes, but you did try.
If I had to call in sick, he would have been none the wiser. But I did go and audition in another country on the day of a show. Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Yes.
It's pretty crazy. So yeah, that sort of thing. Another funny story was when I was in Sydney doing a show, and I'm a beach fanatic, and I really like a beach where I can swim properly, like with waves, human-sized waves, not surfing waves. And so basically, I had per diem cash in my pocket, and I would just hop in a cab with a big old smoothie and get to the beach as quickly as I could every day. And one day I went to the beach, and I think I was by myself. I mean, again, totally crazy. And there was nobody on the beach, and there were these red flags up, and you would think, being from New Jersey, that I would clock that. But I'm swimming around and having a great old time. And then I go into work that night. I went straight from the beach to the theater, and I'm talking to the crew guys, and I was like, yeah, I was at Tamarama Beach today, and there was nobody there, and the flags were up, and they were like, Gaby, that's the roughest beach in Sydney. I was like, oh, really? Oh, okay. Like, I could have just been swept out to sea. Oh, my word. So, yeah, I'm a bit of a risk taker in that way.
Yes. And in both stories, you were like living on the edge,
A little bit. Yeah, I've done some kind of ill-advised hitchhiking before there were cell phones in Sardinia as well. And I realized, as I was driving in a car with this sort of strange man, I thought, no one in the planet knows where I am right now. This might have not been a great idea. So, and then we went, and he was like getting gas at a gas station. And I thought, I could just not get back in the car. That might be the best idea. But again, Masha, I was desperate to get to my friend's house on the other side of Sardinia and swim in the pool. So it was very hot. And the trains were very slow on a Sunday in Sardinia back then. So,
well, looks like you were all about swimming.
If there's some good swimming and it's hot outside, I'm there.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, Gaby, you make it sound that, it's also fun and auditioning and performing and doing all of this, creative stuff. But actually, your career is very difficult to stay balanced at, like the rapture of feeling alive and feeling excited is one thing. But then, the whole entertainment industry is so famous for its ups and downs, right? So how do you actually stay motivated and inspired in an industry like that?
I wish I could say I knew the answer to that question, but I'm one of those hyper driven people. And, I was in second grade typing up my own resume. Like I was Goldilocks and the Three Bears in kindergarten. Like I was already had my eyes on the prize that way. So I think if you don't have that, it could be hard. I'm not doing as much acting right now as I would like. So that can be hard sometimes, but I'm so creatively fulfilled overall that it's not, I can understand if somebody's kind of got all their eggs in one basket, that would be really tough. But I somehow always have something going on. So it's not about motivation, it's about management, right? Like today I have to learn my music for my rehearsal on Thursday to sing on, at this church for Easter. I have some research to do for a new screenplay that I'm writing. My executive producer is chatting with another producer about the project. You know what I mean? I'm juggling and I kind of create that. And I think, when they say someone's a multi-hyphenate, that's just somebody who's being a Renaissance person, right? I mean, in the Renaissance period, they really didn't think anything of it that someone was a mathematician and also a sculptor and
Right.
also a poet. And that was really something that people thought was amazing. I think sometimes in this industry, it's seen as suspect. Like, you really have to have a website that just is the one thing that you do. Well, I do all these things, and it keeps a roof over my head. It keeps me excited. It keeps me pinging back and forth. I love working with talented performers to make their stuff great, you know?
Yes.
So I get a lot back that way. I don't know if I've cultivated all of that. I certainly know what my strengths are and where I was able to earn a living. And I focused in on those things, and I trained hard in those things. And then I got experience in those things. And I went to the ends of the earth to get the best acting training that I could. And so now I feel that I can teach that and share that. And that gives me a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if somebody doesn't have all of those different outlets, it might be more challenging to stay motivated. But motivation is not my issue. People say, you work so hard, and it doesn't feel like work. It feels like this is what I do. This is, I was that kid who would listen to an opera with the libretto on Christmas break from school and just sit and listen to the record and be learning the languages as I'm listening. Like, I just was always doing that. I think that might be unusual, maybe, but yeah, the highs and the lows, the motivation, that's not my issue. My issue would probably be maybe I get tired out.
Yes, not enough hours in the day to do everything that you need to do.
There are never enough hours. And I think streamlining what I'm doing has been good. My performing, I don't do 8 shows a week anymore. When I used to do big show, 8 shows a week, I wasn't doing all these other things. But now, I teach university acting, voiceover. I teach screen acting and voiceover mostly there at USC. It's great because it's college. I'm not there 24/7 the way I would be if it was, say, a high school teaching job. So then it does give me time to write, to research, to do my own acting, singing, coaching, all of those things. So, but I've also, I do take time off. I go skiing, or I travel, or I hang out with friends, and I try and get enough sleep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Very nice. So it looks like the way you were describing, wearing all these different hats and multitasking and keeping yourself busy and excited about everything that you do, it seems to be that it could be a very good piece of advice for aspiring actors or writers as well, because when you don't focus just on one thing and you keep going, it actually keeps you being alive and excited.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for writers, it's important to understand acting. I think for actors, it's really important to understand structure. I think directors need to understand all of those things. So it's a balance between having life experience and also being very skilled, right? And knowing what are your strengths and what do you have to work on. What do you have to learn? What do you have to get better at? But also trusting what you're good at and, really putting that out there. I think a lot of artists beat themselves up, and it's so 20th century. Like, let's be nicer to ourselves.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I don't think the artist has to be in agony or tortured or poor or struggling to do great work. I think you do need life experience, though. And I think you have to be a person. So developing yourself, if you're too focused on the craft, you probably aren't out there having the experiences. And I think Americans are very cut off from the rest of the world. And I say this as an American who lived overseas for a very long time, that the formative years for me as an adult were spent outside of this country. And I feel like too few Americans have that opportunity, or rather, they don't create that opportunity. And there are plenty of reasons why. I mean, I graduated from my master's. I took 2 bags and less than $2,000 and went off to Europe and stayed for 15 years. I became a British citizen. I won an Olivier Award for a big show. I just figured it out. And that really created a lot of grit. I know that I can survive. I know I can do this because I walked in there with a singing teacher and that was about it. I didn't have a lot of money or many contacts. And I'm really proud of what I was able to achieve. And you know what? Anybody can do that.
Yes.
Anybody can step outside of their environment, their comfort zone, and make opportunities. So I think the thing of waiting for things to happen is not the way to go about it. You have to know what you have on offer and then just put it about and see who's going to respond. And, you have to say yes to the opportunity that's coming towards you. It may not look like what you thought it was going to look like. I never thought I would be a university professor.
Yes.
Believe me. I'm like, what am I doing teaching college? But it's pretty inspiring to work with young people and to feel like I can mentor them and share with them the things that I would have wanted to know, that I, kind of blood, sweat, and tears to learn. And if I can impart some of those things, they're still going to have their own experiences. But there's definitely some stuff that I feel like was left out by the people guiding me or not guiding me. So that drives me as well to share things that I think will really make it a little less bumpy for young performers.
And I bet you're a very good professor and you help young people to actually create and cultivate a certain mindset that has helped you throughout your career. And this is something that, you wish it were taught, but in your case, you are able to transfer this knowledge to your students. So it's wonderful that you do this for others.
Yeah, I think I'm not for everyone. I'm pretty snarky. I'm pretty snide. And I think that doesn't go down well with some people. But I also, I shoot from the hip and I'm very, very honest. I'm not sugarcoating things. And I think a lot of them respect that at the end of the day. And I'm very much doing it for them. So if they can see that, that's great. If they want someone to kind of sugarcoat things, that's not me. And I'm not for them.
I hear you. And I know you this way.
I just say it like it. I'm from New York. I'm Italian. I don't know. I can't really.
No bullshit with Italians from New York.
No BS with me. Yeah.
Yes. Well, Gaby, thank you so much for such a wonderful conversation and sharing your heart and sharing different insights into, your career and multitasking and wearing so many hats and surviving in such a large city and challenging city as Los Angeles and, finding your ground here and thriving and being inspired. Thank you for this amazing conversation.
Thank you, Masha. This has been delightful.
Okay, until next time.
I'll see you soon, I hope.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much for tuning in to feel and experience Whitley Heights with my special guest, Gaby Santinelli. If you enjoy my podcast, In the Mood for California, please sign up for future episodes at your preferred platform and please leave your feedback. I really appreciate your time and support. You can follow me on Instagram at In the Mood for California and check out my website www.inthemoodforcalifornia.com. I'm a realtor with Beverly & Company Luxury Properties, and my license number is 019-78714. Selling and buying homes with soul is not just my real estate strategy. It is an intuitive and holistic approach that embraces your values, aspirations, and conscious intentions. If you want to discover the power of mindfulness in your real estate journey with my compassionate guidance, I'm here for you. Next time, We are returning to Beverly Hills and will experience the neighborhood of Roxbury Park. Cannot wait to see you there. It will be super fun, I promise.
In the mood for California, feel the soul of Old Hollywood.